Hello, and welcome to DeKalb Talks Tourism. Today, we have a very special guest, Bob Carter.
Hi.
Welcome to the show. I guess we met a couple months ago, and just tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. My name is Bob Carter. I am a small business owner. I run the neighborhood studio where we help aspiring creatives become working creatives. I grew up in Atlanta, and I am a proud product, a successful product, I like to think, of DeKalb County. I have been in the Atlanta scene for decades now, I guess you could say. Most people know me as Carter from 99X or Dave FM or Your Georgia Country or 680 The Fan or Power 96 I'm all over the Southeast in terms of broadcasting, 33 plus years, up until May of this year, because then I went all in on my voiceover side, where I'm known as Bob Carter, voice actor, voice director, voice coach. Also the voice of Shao Kahn and Baraka from Mortal Kombat 9, Balrog from Street Fighter, Black Adam from Multiverses, Sig from Full Metal Alchemist, Bojack, and Sin Shinron from the Dragon Ball franchise. I've got over 200 credits as far as anime and video games go. Yeah. All things audio, all things creative. So if you like audiobooks, I'm on Amazon. If you like music, I'm on Spotify and Pandora. Look up Carter Game. I've got some pretty cool
What's some
tunes.
of the books you've done?
They're spicy romance novels, believe it or not. Again, I've got a teaching and production studio, and on the production side, this is for grown folks.
Okay.
So everything from action adventures to fun, time-traveling, swashbuckling adventure novels that are fun. I've done some foodie, some actual air fryer cookbook audiobooks. I've done histories. I've done children's books as well. This is stuff that people don't know, but one of my favorite ones that I've done is When the Wild Pirates Go Sailing.
Oh.
So that's a fun one.
Shame I don't have any little kids anymore.
No problem. That's still fun to just listen to and to talk like a pirate. Arr! But let's see. I've done, again, all things audio, all things creative. So I've done everything from Caterpillar and AstroTurf, corporate narration, e-learning things for, up in Dalton and Mohawk and AstroTurf, to, again, political spots, to you name it, I've done it when it comes to audio.
Well, that's very cool. I didn't know that part.
Yes. And then, as a part of the neighborhood studio and because of my background in video games, that led me to join the Georgia Game Developers Association, and then that's eventually how we met.
Yep, Andrew Greenberg.
Andrew Greenberg, exactly. That guy is so connected, and he's so effective at getting people to do things for him. He is a true leader of the community because, in all seriousness, he inspired me to now step up and host Shao Kahn, which is a statewide esports tournament, college and job fair, and creative expo, and just fun con that's going to happen this Halloween, October 24th through the 27th weekend. So
he was the one that kind of got you to do this?
Absolutely. So Andrew is phenomenal. I mean, he leads the Georgia Game Devs, and he is connected with so many different people. And then I've been with the Georgia Game Devs since like 2016, and I've got three video games in development myself. And as part of my interaction and as part of my passion, I love to help people. I've even got a nonprofit called Volunteeros, where volunteers are heroes. He knows that I love to help people. Well, with the need that we have right now for young people to have their curiosity sparked, to become passionate again about their future and about learning. Look, AI and automation are happening, whether we want it to or not. Change is scary when it happens to us, but it's good when it comes from us. So I always try to be proactive rather than reactive. And so my purpose is to motivate, educate, and empower. So spark curiosity in young people, get them to realize that gaming leads to coding and high-tech skills. Coding and high-tech skills lead to high-paying careers. So because I don't just like to kind of force feed knowledge into people. If it's not fun, they're not going to do it.
Right.
I wanted to go ahead and make things fun. So that's when I came up with the idea of hosting a convention myself, this Shao Kahn, which is going to bring all of that together. So I'm going to motivate everybody with this esports tournament and cosplay creative convention. And then once they're there, we can kind of slip that education in and let them know that, again, gaming leads to coding and high-tech skills, right? You've got these transferable skills that happen from playing video games. Again, we all learn by playing, right?
Right.
Again, the most memorable moments that we've had were from the things that we enjoyed, that we're passionate about. Young people are passionate about games and gaming. So if we can spark that passion and then also show them a path forward that doesn't involve retail, warehousing, manufacturing, logistics, or military, because 50% of all those jobs are about to go away because of the automation of retail, warehouse, manufacturing, logistics, and military jobs. That's where, again, it's very important that we spark that curiosity. So all that led to Shao Kahn happening this Halloween.
Well, I know you were just, Shao Kahn was just discussed. Andrew Greenberg every year comes and talks to my master's level event management class, and he was just there last week.
Okay.
Last Thursday. So he was literally talking to my master's classes about how you can get into game development,
Yes.
gaming, the creative side,
Absolutely.
to get other jobs.
Yes.
And we were talking about Shao Kahn.
Thank you. That's
So-
wonderful. I love that he was talking
Well, what
about
was interesting is no one asked the question that I'm about to ask.
Okay.
Where did you get the name Shao Kahn?
A few different ways. Number one, Shao is Chinese for young or hot. All right. And so are you familiar with MomoCon? That happens in
A
May?
little bit. He did talk about that as well.
Okay, so MomoCon is a huge, fun convention that combines gaming and cosplay and creativity and that sort of thing, right? So Momo is Japanese for peaches. So
Oh.
MomoCon, right? Georgia peach.
Makes sense.
Exactly. Well, another thing Georgia's famous for would be heat.
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking about that, and in that kind of genre, I was like, oh, well, that's perfect. Shao Kahn, right? Bringing the heat of Georgia together with this convention. And then the really cool part, now here's the really cool facet of this, because it's a play on words. Again, I'm the former voice of Shao Kahn from Mortal Kombat. Again, the pun is perfect, so it really does fit.
So do you know what was the originator of all these cons?
The very first con?
Yeah, just curious if you knew that or not.
Well, I mean, if you're going to talk the very first con, I would actually say it would either be the Olympics or the International World Convention of London or Chicago back in the day. Think about it. Pop culture is pop culture,
True.
right? So it's, it's just that today's version of a con, right? Like Dragon Con. It's all about all things pop culture, right? Everybody has a fandom. And that's the best part, right? We're talking life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if your pursuit of happiness is dressing like a stormtrooper, right, or holding lightsabers, or if it's martial arts, or if it's fixing up old cars, if it's drag racing, if it's NASCAR, whatever, we all have a fandom, right? It could be sports, it could be books. We all have a fandom. And that's the really cool part is that, honestly, Dragon Con, in terms of the organic growth of it and what it's done for our city, it's been amazing. And so now that we have all these different conventions and ways of expressing our fun and our fandom, that's a good thing. I'm all for it.
Well, I mean, I know we not in DeKalb, but WhoCon, Doctor Who.
Yes.
And while I was on I was actually up in Vermont at a research trade show. I went and saw a remake of the Star Trek Enterprise.
Oh, that's cool. That's very
and
cool.
I was actually
Yes.
able to sit on the bridge
Ooh,
in
yes.
a replica of Kirk's chair.
Yeah.
And now that old antique chair is actually one of the hottest things people want to get to try to convert it into Kirk's chair. So, and I had my son there, and finally, and sometimes I would do this on purpose. I would just act like I'm not going to get up. This time it wasn't on purpose. I was so mesmerized by being in the chair. My oldest son goes, "Dad, can I get my picture now?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot."
Yeah.
So I can kind of get what you're talking about only because of my time at Star Trek. Right
Absolutely. But again, the fact that you are a Trekkie, right?
Yep.
So again, that's really cool. Now, what's interesting is every generation has its fandom. We don't always realize that. So of course, when the older generation sees the younger generation, they're like, what is going on here? Well, that's the cool part, right? It doesn't matter how old you are.
Yeah.
You can enjoy cosplay. You can enjoy that creative passion that comes from, and that's something that's very important, by the way, because again, as we get older, it becomes harder and harder to play and harder to express ourselves. And so these cons are wonderful because they tap into our natural creativity and our natural enjoyment of that sort of thing, right? Just whether it's an art festival, a film festival, a pub crawl, right?
Yeah.
We enjoy interacting with people socially. And in this case, it's not just over food, it's over culture. It's over games. It's over art. It's over entertainment. It's over movies. So that's the best part about the con culture that I really enjoy.
So you mentioned you're hosting the very first ShowCon.
Yes, this is the very first ShowCon. Very excited about this. It's a statewide esports tournament. Now, that's something else that's unique. Most esports, now, again, the Georgia High School Association, they sanctioned esports back in 2018. Okay, so you can actually get scholarships playing video games and go to college, and
which I think is so interesting.
Right, it's amazing. Think about this. Georgia, football is sacred in Georgia. We understand how amazing football has been for the state of Georgia. When you think about the fact that esports are bigger than football, that statement right there is just staggering. It's insane, right? Esports is bigger than football in Georgia. Now, esports is bigger than football right now in Atlanta, but it needs to be outside the perimeter as well for the entire state to give all these young people access to these opportunities, again, for gaming and gaming careers, or even, again, coding and high-tech skill transferable careers where those same kids could become cryptocurrency, blockchain specialist, cybersecurity. And by the way, right, so after that cybersecurity fiasco we had this past weekend that shut down half the world, right, imagine if you had more cybersecurity, more people who are aware of that sort of thing, they could prevent that sort of thing from happening. But also you're talking about data scientists, you're talking about AI engineers, and we're not stopping AI. It's going to happen, just like the computer, just like cell phones, just like brew-on-demand coffee, right? You are not going to stop AI or automation from happening. So what we have to do is learn how to do it effectively, ethically, and incorporate that into our habits. Just like, a cell phone is essential now. The future is going to be, we don't have to worry about the future being taken over by AI. The future is going to be taken over by people who know how to use AI.
Right.
So if we can train our young people to do that effectively, that's a good thing. So that's one purpose of ShellCon. The other is a real creative expo, a real creative summit. I've honestly, on the voice actor side, I've done enough conventions and been to enough conventions that I am blessed to know quite a few people. So I'm bringing in creatives from all over the country to have a fun time, because it's Halloween weekend, to have real conversation about the industry, about the creative services industry, and then also to enable people who ordinarily wouldn't be able to gain access to these people, to enable them to actually ask anything they want, right? A Reddit AMA, but in addition to that, again, not just the educate part, but the empower part, to allow them to network, allow them to get discovered by people who can potentially hire them, allow them to network together and work on new project ideas, new concepts, new video games. So that's what ShellCon is all about. And then, like I said, it's also Halloween weekend, and in Atlanta, we love Halloween. So
I learned that when I first moved here. You have to leave early from work if you want to get home. Soon.
Yeah. But this is but that's the other thing too. This is a safe, fun, and creative way to enjoy Atlanta. It's not just the insanity of downtown.
Right.
It's right there at the Century Center at the Century Center Marriott at Emory, and it's right there at 85 in Claremont. So it's close enough into the action that everybody knows where it is, but it's separate enough that it's a safe space for everybody to come hang out.
Now, is this open to the public to come and watch, or how?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. So it's honestly, it's an all ages event. Tickets are $29, so it's very affordable. Honestly, thanks to Discover to Cab for being a title sponsor. I'm really excited about this. Also, Encourage Her Academy. That's another thing. We don't just want this to be for boy gamers, right? That's not what this is about. This is for everyone. It's all ages, all demographics, all cultures. So in particular, we want to make sure that there are enough girl gamers, right? So we've got Girls Who Code, Girl Gamers. They're closely affiliated with Skillshot.
Okay, yes.
And then in addition to that, let's see, Encourage Her Academy, which is a whole regional academy based on mentorship for young females. So that's a cool thing too.
Well, what's interesting, my master's classes primarily female, and they were all picking up. And when they had to critique a journal article about esports and all, they were bringing up need more women,
yes,
females,
absolutely,
young girls into the gaming side.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, that's something else that's really interesting because so there are 8 titles that are sanctioned by the Georgia High School Association, right? So you've got NBA 2K, Madden 24, Splatoon, Rocket League, which is that soccer, the auto soccer game, Mario Kart, which everybody loves to play, but then you've got Hearthstone, which is an interesting card game that's based on strategy and tactics, Smash Brothers, and then also League of Legends, which is like real-time strategy. But a lot of females don't necessarily like combat games, right? They like exploration games, they like role-playing games. Again, there's not just combat that's involved when it comes to gaming. So one of the things that I'm excited about is being able to showcase different styles of games, different types of games. And so, again, you've got a lot of brilliant developers, male and female, who need to be showcased and featured. And that's one of the things that I'm excited about that Shao Kahn will do.
My kids used to play it. It's where you build things and build gardens and and you go down into caves and it used.
Are we talking about Minecraft? Are we talking about SimCity? Are we talking about Fortnite? Yeah, Minecraft is huge. Absolutely.
So that still is big.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I guess you could say for the new generation, the two juggernauts would be Roblox and Fortnite. And when I say juggernauts, I mean pretty much it's like the Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox of its generation, right? I mean, these are so Fortnite or I should say Epic Games, which made Fortnite. So Epic Games and Disney put $10 billion together for each, right? So you've got this $20 billion investment in this world, in this frame. So there's this whole new system called UEFN, right? Unreal Engine for Fortnite, and it uses a new code called Verse. You can make money right now just learning, and nobody knows how to use this code, right? It's only like a year and a half old. So for the young people that are starting to explore this, whether they're just making skins or making copies of buildings.
I just learned what a skin was Thursday.
Okay. Yeah, so again, this is a brand new system and framework, but it's going to be here for like 20 years, right? It's the new framework of the future. Now, you've also got Roblox, which is this open platform that uses very simple retro coding. I mean, this is this kind of stuff like from back when we were kids, right? Like post-Pong, like 80s, 8-bit, 16-bit, that kind of like simple, boxy, cubic kind of shapes where it's not about how advanced everything is. It's just, is it fun to play? What's the storyline? And so Roblox is great because, again, you could be 8 years old and learn how to build a program for a game that you want to make. So both of these platforms are huge opportunities for people to learn. And it's you don't have to be brilliant to try to get into it. You don't have to already have a degree in science and engineering or anything like that. You just have to honestly just kind of go like a step-by-step process. It's not any more difficult than learning how to, I should use this as an example, program a VCR, or learning how to navigate your Roku these days. So
yeah, and sometimes that's complicated. I tell you,
it can be
with Wi-Fi and everything.
Yes.
Well, tell you, I've never been like my family loves to play games. I can't stand games.
Really?
But with that said,
yes.
When I was in college, there was a game called Satan's Hollow.
I don't remember that.
Got to be way before your time.
Okay.
But I actually was getting parking tickets.
Really?
Because I wouldn't leave the game to go feed the meter.
Yes, you loved that game that much.
I loved the game that much.
Okay.
I've looked for it everywhere, trying to actually get a copy of it.
Wow.
This might be it. Yes,
okay.
This is it. And you just kill dragons and you kill bats and you kill
awesome.
The devil, and
okay,
it's very old school. And,
love it.
I have no idea why I was addicted to this game, but it's the only game
that ever got you.
I'm 60 now that I've ever been addicted to, and I've literally wanted to get one and put it in my office just to be like my go back and relax type thing.
Sure.
But I haven't been able to find it. But
all right.
But now I kind of get when Andrew in class is talking about, you get a lot of spectators.
Oh, yeah.
And to me, it would be like, why do I want to watch somebody sitting here doing this? But I sit and watch the wife and kids play
Yeah.
Mario and Luigi, and my wife getting mad when my son kills her or doesn't
Yes.
bubble or whatever,
Right.
all this stuff. So
Yeah, look, no matter what age you are, it's fun to watch. And again, it's a way that the family can get together and play, right? Multiple generations. We're all programmed. I mean, from a primal level, we're all hardwired that we learn by playing. We
Right.
learn by doing. So depending on the ways that you like to play, that could also determine the games that you like. So, for instance, you might not like a lot of other types of games. Now, this one just captured your imagination
did.
because you were at the right place at the right time, and that's what got you. But you might prefer sports games. You might prefer golf games. I mean, think about how big Golden Tee was back in the day, right? That's why Top Golf is so exciting right now for a lot of people. So, again, there's a game for everybody. It's just a question of finding the right one. And also, by the way, there are some amazing retired gamers who have their own professional esports leagues, and that's something that people don't realize. Look, gaming keeps you sharp, so they've also proven that gaming can help with Alzheimer's and dementia and stuff like that. It can help with Parkinson's because again, you're practicing different skills. Gaming helps with so many different things. It's a matter of finding the right game, right? So it could be an augmented reality game like Pokemon Go. I don't know if you remember that Pokemon Go helped so many people lose weight during, believe it or not, during COVID because they got outside, and they couldn't be sociable, but they could be sociable from a distance.
I
so,
forgot about that.
Right.
Yeah.
So Pokemon Go is huge. So I love augmented reality games like that. I mean, like I said, I've got a couple that are in development using Niantic's Lightship. So the type of game absolutely can make a difference in terms of what's fun for you, right? We all have our different styles of fun. You don't have to stop playing tennis or playing golf or playing football or things like that. You can just add it to what you're doing, and it just enhances. You know what I mean? That's what it should do. Is it should enhance your experience of whatever that is. But yeah, for something like Satan's Hollow, that's awesome because that is definitely nostalgic. And so now, I'm seeing these cases. So let's go way back. All right, I grew up in DeKalb County, so my first experiences with gaming were over off of, believe it or not, Shallowford Road at the Players Retreat back in the day, and then the Gold Mine over at North Lake Mall. I blew so much money, and then Challenges over at North DeKalb, and then the bowling alleys all around DeKalb County. So again, I grew up literally right here in this county playing video games. So I get it. I totally get what it's like to grow up and then touch on different generations who are playing their particular styles of video games. It drives me crazy that my kids don't want to play the video games that I love to play. But they're totally into Roblox. I mean, man, they're all in on Roblox.
He was talking about Roadblock, and I didn't understand what it was.
But, so it's this platform that uses that kind of Minecraft style character. But the really neat thing is so many different people can learn how to make a video game, and then they can even upload it to Roblox. And then, so it's very simple, like a very simple look. But depending on your game concept, that's the thing.
Well, it's got a Cylon.
Yeah.
No, that's too cool.
It's got everything from Cylons to Lego heroes.
Isn't the guy in the middle kind of like from Minecraft? The guy next to the Cylon?
Well, again, they've all got different shapes, so you can have any skin that you want. But they keep it relatively simple. But the cool thing, so like right now, my son is showing me these different variations of Roblox characters based on different anime and video games and cartoons and movies and TV shows that they have incorporated. So these young kids are learning. They're learning motion graphics. They're learning physics. They're learning. They're learning how to code. And it's absolutely amazing and astonishing because, again, it's all about sparking curiosity, right? It's all about what's interesting to you. And if somebody doesn't care about something, well, then they're just going to be passive. But once you spark that curiosity in them, that's the thing that's so important. And so that's what's wonderful about games is that they're really good at sparking curiosity. Now, unfortunately, you've also got those gambling games, right, where they've got it down to a science and a psychology. But that's also important because you need to know about that so you can guard against it. Right. So, addiction can take all forms. So as we mature, as we grow, as we are families, as we're taking care of one another, we can also kind of again, understand enough that we can help raise our kids or deal with family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, parents.
Yes.
All that sort of thing matters. So.
Well, you were talking about skins because Andrew was telling us there was this leather jacket that sold for $1,000.
Yes.
And of course, you never got to wear it. It was on the game.
Absolutely.
Do you have to buy like the Cylon skin, or is this just you pick your look?
Sometimes it depends on the game.
Okay.
But that's the interesting thing, because that's where an economy can get insane. So, like, there are crazy stories of World of Warcraft or EverQuest or some of these massive multiplayer online role-playing games, right, where you've got these worlds that have come together, where there's an entire economy based on the skins or the magic items or the whatever kind of special accessories that you can have for your character, right? Where you can build up this entire online empire, It's really interesting. But again, yes, you can pay thousands and thousands of dollars for these characters and things like that.
I guess you have it for life, for as long as the game lasts.
Right. Again, imagine it like real estate, right? Only instead of it being real estate, it's more digital estate. And so that's where you even get into things like blockchain and NFTs, right? Non-fungible tokens, which again it's like understanding the stock market, right? So there's always a market for everything, right? There was a market for tulips back in the day. Well, now there's a market for digital coins, for digital characters, for digital accessories.
What if any PhD's ever done a esports dissertation?
I'm sure there has to have been.
You think
somebody.
there had to
There
been.
has to be. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I should have gotten my PhD in this because I'm lost.
Well, again, we can always make analogies, right? So again, it's like if you've never studied the stock market, then trying to understand the stock market is very difficult.
True. Yeah.
So just focus on what you know. Focus on the companies that you use. Okay? Focus on the games that you like. Again, there are games that are like Satan's Hollow. Absolutely amazing games. And that's the other cool thing, too. You could just go on YouTube and watch a game, watch somebody playing that game, see what it's about before you ever buy.
Oh, that is interesting. So you don't have to really kind of waste your money.
Exactly.
Did you ever see the movie, I think it was Tetris?
Oh, are we talking documentaries, or are we talking about...
It was about the Russian who designed...
Tetris.
Okay. And it was... at the end, you saw the real guy and the real American who brought Tetris over here.
I did not see that,
and
but I lived
you need to watch it because me as a non-gamer, I want it because they developed the Game Boy, the original Game Boy.
Yeah, I remember that.
I literally wanted to go buy, and this is a guy who, again, doesn't like these things. I wanted to go buy the original Game Boy just after watching this movie.
Because of the Tetris.
Because of that, yeah.
So there are certain games that are so amazing that they are the reason to buy that gaming system, right? Tetris for the Game Boy, Halo for the Xbox.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was very fortunate enough to be in a game called Asgard's Wrath 2, which is for the MetaQuest 3.
Thor?
Sort of. Asgard's Wrath, well, yes, you're dealing with deities, but this is like in a virtual reality set. And in this case, it's not just dealing with Thor or Loki or Odin or any of the Norse gods. You're also dealing with other pantheons. In this case, the Egyptian pantheons, because it's the sequel, so it's bigger and better. So with Asgard's Wrath 2, that game is breathtaking. I mean, it is visually
So you play it with what, Oculus?
The MetaQuest 3. It's the new generation of that VR game. But again, it is so beautiful. It is the reason to buy that MetaQuest 3. But just like Tetris was the reason to buy the Game Boy, or Assassin's Creed or Spider-Man were the reason to buy the PlayStation 4, or again, there are certain games that are so amazing. Again, Halo. As soon as you hear the music for Halo, when it turns on, again, there's like notice how I'm getting chills right now? It is classic conditioning, right? So whatever that generation is, it will affect you.
Is the Wii big now, or is it like kind of
Yes,
gone?
believe it or not. So Nintendo tends to be more conservative and family friendly, and so the Wii is still just as
So that's
big.
Mario.
Oh yeah,
Luigi.
All things Mario, all things Sonic, absolutely. So Nintendo is always huge. It's family friendly is family friendly, so that the entire family can always play.
Yeah.
As I said before, Mario Kart is one of the 8 sanctioned games that you can get a scholarship in, because it's all about driving skills, but also tactical skills. There are certain skills that you learn from Mario Kart, reaction time. There are certain ideas and concepts that come along with video games that can translate to other areas. But Mario Kart is absolutely huge when it comes to, everything from the family unit in terms of playing and having a good time, cars in terms of driving, just being a better driver on the road, especially in Atlanta. We need it. So
yes.
So believe it or not, the Wii is still big. The Switch is huge. Every generation of video games.
Is the Switch the one that has like these little? You can have these two small, or you can have the big.
Yep,
Is that my kids have
yes,
that?
Absolutely.
Whatever happened to the the little thing you would
when you'd flip over?
Yeah, I mean,
believe it or not, those are collector's items now. And
they?
Yes, they're still big. So that's another thing. Again, retro gaming, right? So you've got these retro arcades that have made a comeback, because now you've got Gen Xers who grew up in arcades who are taking their kids, and now millennials who are taking their kids to arcades and having a good time. And so it's another opportunity, right? So if you're looking at it from a business standpoint, it's just like Starbucks with coffee shops. People love games, no matter who you are, no matter how old you are. People love games. They love being social, and they love being
the place
social.
in Avondale Estates.
Absolutely, that's exactly right. See how I'm bringing it back to tie in locally to DeKalb. That's exactly right. So again, it's all about that social interaction, which helps. Also, whether you're introvert or extrovert, it helps facilitate as a catalyst to having meaningful conversation with people. Especially with guys, right? We communicate by doing, right? So it's walk and talk. And it's easier when you're playing a video game with somebody that you can then talk about your problems, you can then talk about your therapy, you can then hang with the guys, as opposed to just drinking or self-medicating or doing anything like that.
I was just curious how much Big Bang helped the economy.
That was another one. Yeah, Big Bang was fun in terms of taking it mainstream. But remember, Dragon Con got huge on its own before Big Bang, right? Dragon Con was one of those. So here's another unique feature about Atlanta. Our sports teams were so bad for so long. It was heartbreaking. Again, I'm a Falcoholic. I grew up here in Atlanta, and it's just so. Like with the Braves, and of course you get into the '90s, and as amazing as they were, still being shut down in the World Series every year, very frustrating. But the one thing that it did for Atlanta, having our sports teams be so bad, it forced us to develop culture in other areas. That's why there are so many great restaurants and eateries and pubs and coffee shops in Atlanta, because we're foodies. Our music here in Atlanta is amazing. Right. Everything from Music Midtown, from downtown to Athens to North Georgia, Central Georgia. Again, our music is amazing here. Our festivals are amazing here. Our art festivals are amazing here. Dragon Con is amazing here. So our sports teams were really bad, so it forced us to develop culture in other areas.
That's an interesting analogy.
Oh, yeah, it is. But it's true, and that's the funny part. And so now we get the best of both worlds, because obviously now we've got great teams. We've got great music. We've got great restaurants. We've got great entertainment all around. But we're more well-rounded, and we've got this wonderful, multifaceted personality as a city.
Very cool analogy. I've been here 13 years, but I've never heard that. But all of that was, already going before I got
absolutely.
here. So.
Definitely. It's going strong. I mean, we've got a foundation of it. The other unique thing about Dragon Con, it's an organic convention, right? It's not like your San Diego Comic-Con or your New York Comic-Con, like run by a corporation, a Wizards World, or somebody major. This came about from the passion of its fans. So that's why there are so many unique, interesting features that make Dragon Con special. Here's something that you probably don't know. Labor Day weekend in Atlanta. And this is one of my okay, so the Olympics in '96 and Labor Day weekend in Atlanta, pick the year, it doesn't matter, are some of my favorite memories, because you have everything from the SEC ACC kickoff,
right,
Dragon Con, the World Literary Festival, or whatever it's called, in Decatur.
Right.
You have Black Gay Pride, which happens as well. You also have NASCAR weekend, and you have, there's one other, it's Labor Day weekend, but you also have one other major event. Anyway, it all culminates in a clash in downtown Atlanta. So the wild part is you would have all these different cultures coming together that ordinarily would never interact together. Right. but everybody generally gets along. And that's the wild part, the hilarious part to me. Seeing some guy dressed up like the drum major from Yo Gabba Gabba, right? This guy's wearing orange. He gets out of this taxi because he's going to Dragon Con. Now, it also, like I said, I don't know if it was because it was also Black Gay Pride weekend, but he's dressed up like, the drum major from Yo Gabba, which is hilarious in and of itself. But at these restaurants downtown, you had members from Clemson, which wears orange, and Tennessee, which wears orange. This guy's wearing orange for geek culture. Both sides cheered for him, thinking that he was representing their
that's
team.
way too funny.
Exactly. I'm telling you, it was one of the funniest moments of my entire life. So seeing that, and then Darth Vader surrounded by an army of lawyers from like King and Spalding or Alston and Bird or something, like, he's got his legal department right at the intersection as he's waiting for the light to turn red, it's absolutely hilarious, right? So you get this great, wonderful clash of cultures, and it's everybody doing their own thing, just having a good time. And that's what
I have never seen like pictures talking about it that way. That would be very cool to actually utilize as far as
really think so.
Especially.
So absolutely. So the other thing, and that's wonderful, again, about whether it's Dragon Con or MomoCon or any con, again, it's all about your fandom and just allowing yourself to play. So, for instance, my uncle, very conservative guy, was a career plumber, built up his company, like went from like plumber's assistant all the way to having an actual industrial plumbing HVAC company, and then selling with several, I don't know, I guess 100 people that worked for him, and that sort of thing, right? Very conservative guy. He was all about NASCAR, and that's his main thing. One year I took him to Dragon Con, and he was like, okay, very jaded, very cynical, that sort of thing, until David Carradine happened to be on the Hall of Fame. Turns out my uncle was this kung fu fanatic as a kid, right? Do you remember the show Kung Fu?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay, so see, I didn't know about this.
Yes.
Right, so my uncle taught me. So again, David Carradine was his hook. That was the thing that got him, right? So whether you're into Dukes of Hazzard or Star Trek or Kung Fu or the Gunman or Buck Rogers, whatever it is, there's something there for somebody that's to enjoy your fandom. And that's the cool part, is then once you find whoever, right? So for me, it was like the artist from He-Man, right? Or the artist from Dungeons and Dragons, or who else? It's anybody, right? I mean, there's always some show that gets somebody, and then once you see your childhood hero, that nostalgia that kicks in, there's this playfulness, this childlike playfulness, no matter what the generation is, that's the appeal. That's the fun part. And then it's like you can just kind of relax and then enjoy the insanity of Dragon Con. It's like Disney World. You can't see everything that's going on there. So the wonderful part is Dragon Con led to MomoCon, which is like the next generation where the cosplay is just insane. Like the level of engineering and artistic ability and creative ability that takes place at MomoCon is just next level, right? Absolutely incredible. Well, MomoCon led to Anime Weekend Atlanta, which is another wonderful, fun convention, because anime is like the new comic books for the new generation.
Right. My kids are huge.
Yes, exactly. And it's really interesting because no matter where you are or what you're into, there's something there for everybody as well. But then in terms of the cosplay side, these kids can let their imagination take place, and they can dress up like it's, again, like Halloween. There are people who love it. Again, Atlanta loves Halloween, right? Because we get to allow our inner selves to come out. And that's what cosplaying is all about. So Anime Weekend led to an opportunity for these young people, actually people of all ages, not just young people, but people of all ages, to cosplay and have a good time. Well, guess what? Anime Weekend moved to December, and we got their blessing to have Shao Kahn on Halloween weekend. So not only am I going to make a difference where I, again, motivate, educate, and empower, but we're going to have fun while we do it. And we get Halloween weekend where we get to bring the community together. We get to bring sponsors together. We get to bring gamers together. We get to spark curiosity. That's what it's all about.
So tell our listeners where they can find out about this.
Absolutely. Feel free to check out shaocon.com, SHAOCON.com. You're more than welcome to email us, contact us through the website. We're on all social media, ShaoCon ATL. on Instagram, on Facebook, on X. And again, if you Google Bob Carter, you can find me as well from the neighborhood studio or Volunteeros. But I'm in the community, been a part of the community. I grew up here in Atlanta.
Well, Bob, this has been exciting.
Thank you, James. Thank you very much.
This is in the end of October.
Yes, October 24th through the 27th. So we've got the College and Job Fair happening from 9 to 1, October 24th. And then the fun, creative aspect of everything takes place the 25th through the 27th. Actually, it'll begin the 24th for people that want to get there early. But it's going to be a great experience, a lot of fun, Carpe cosplay, and again, come and enjoy.
And do you have a room block at the Marriott?
We absolutely have a room block at the Marriott, so you can get discounted hotels on shalcon.com. So go to the website, and then you can absolutely reserve your room, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
So everything is right there.
Everything is right there, one-stop shop on shalcon.com. Absolutely.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you coming on the show. And by then, our mobile podcast studio should be done.
Yes, that's exciting. And you guys will have to do interviews there live. And then you can also talk about your master's program again. Invite your people from, you said events, right?
Yes, I'll have to. Yeah, I just had that, but I'll get the professor at that time period.
Sure. Well, hey, it's a live event.
Over. Yeah, so it'd be great.
Definitely.
Then they can get a head start on my class in summer of next year.
Absolutely. In all seriousness, thank you very, very much for your time, James. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you being here. Please tune in to our next show.